watching, the interviews that they had with all these different people that work at Pixar. But A Bug's Life comes out, which in my opinion is probably one of my, not necessarily, it's hard to say least favorite because it's still a fantastic movie. But at the time, I think I didn't enjoy it as much as a kid. It felt, I don't know why, maybe it felt more kiddie than Toy Story, which is kind of weird to say. But
it hit rock bottom Rotten Tomatoes. Toy Story 100%. Bug's Life all the way down 92%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, this movie is hilarious.
Still a fantastic. I need to rewatch it.
At the time, well, okay, so 1998. So we were like, what, like in 6th, 7th grade then?
Yeah.
Right? So we're already like, oh, we're too cool for this.
I think that's probably
kids movies, yeah.
Yeah.
And then it might have just suffered from the time period. If I went back and watched it.
Last year, before Good Dinosaur came out, I went back and rewatched all the Pixar movies, and
Jeez.
A Bug's Life is a movie that makes me crack up. That movie is hilarious.
Funnier than Toy Story?
Nothing is funnier than Toy Story.
All right, thank you.
But A Bug's Life has jokes in it that I laugh for days. Like, they're hilarious. I love that movie.
And the thing that they did too, and Disney fashion, I know it's Pixar, but it's all related. They took a little tiny camera, they put it on like a little Lego with wheels, and they rolled it on the ground to get a perspective of an upshot from the ground. And they were like, wow, we never really noticed this, but a lot of stuff from the ground is translucent. It has this translucent look to it. And that guided them on how to make this movie and how to really create a universe that is a Bug's universe.
Or life.
Thanks,
David.
He said it.
He said it. The other thing that's interesting about this movie that they talk again about in the documentary, I'll stop saying that. I'll just say that they talk about. But
we know you watched the documentary.
How many ants they fit onto the screen, which was insane because they went to them and they basically said, well, you can have like 20 ants. And he's like, well, that kind of kills the movie because like the whole point is it's
the colony. There's like hundreds of them.
Right. That's the one thing we know about ants. There's a billion of them, right? And so they said, no, just figure it out. And that's what
probably explains the higher budget too.
Right. But it also is just, the drive of all those people there are just like, okay, we'll figure it out. You know what I mean? It was never like, we can't do that. It's like, no. And that's what Lasseter is like. It's only impossible until we do it. That was the attitude he has. Like, that's an awesome boss. Like, are you kidding me? Because in reality, after seeing Toy Story, I'm sure people were like, just mind completely blown. Artists that have never even thought of this type of animation. And it, like I said, it still holds up. That movie is 20 plus years old and it still looks fan-freaking-tastic.
It is. It's a really funny movie. And it has its own land at California Adventure.
Bug's Life, yeah. That's pretty cool. John Lasseter, with a lot of the stuff that's built, he's one of the creative advisors for a lot of the attractions that are built, including.
Of course, yeah.
So, like, man, what a cool job! Like, hey, I created this one thing, and it's like insane universe, and then I get to make it into the real world. Like, that's so cool, man.
I can't even imagine. Like, I just try to get my paperwork in on time. I mean, I can't even imagine what he does.
So, Bug's Life, another huge, wild success. Both through a technological aspect because of the amount of stuff that they were able to fit on the screen and render. Again, it still looks fantastic, has a ton of these colors. What's also noticeable about that movie, same thing with Toy Story, is that they create a universe. Like when you shoot a live action movie, the set's already there, right? Trees already up. If you're going to film a Star Wars movie, just go out in the desert. Done. You made, there's Jakku.
Every Star Wars movie.
There's Tatooine. It's all the same.
Yeah, it's easy. You just put a little thing in the ground and it looks like a...
Put another light for another sun. You got two suns.
Yeah, you're done. You're done, right? With this, they've got to create all of that. And, they talk about, if you did such a good job on the background, no one will notice it. That's how good it is. You know what I mean? Like,
it's
a lot
immersive.
Right, and that's the point, is like the experience is never broken because it's so good. I forget what the saying is. It's like, if you're doing your job perfectly, no one will ever notice.
Yeah. Right.
And that's exactly, you absolutely notice this. As we get further down this, some of the scenery is insane, and it's like, nobody cares. Somebody took like 3 years of their life to make all that hair on that animal, and nobody even noticed. Just because it's not broken. It's feels
so fluid.
See, I disagree with that. Like, especially in these later movies,
like
majority
of people,
like Monsters Inc. and like especially Good Dinosaur, the last one. Like, I remember us going to that movie after Good Dinosaur. Not the best movie for me, but like the animation, the scenery, and all that stuff, it was almost photorealistic. Yeah, blew me away. And it's almost at a disadvantage because like the characters are animated so more simply, because like for toys and stuff,
right?
It almost takes you out of it because the world looks so good. But same thing, Monsters Inc. Sully's hair was like a really big deal during that time, and I noticed it when I watched it.
Yeah, but we were also adults. Like, kids aren't going to be like, "Whoa, do you
know
how
too.
long they spent making
I think
Sully's hair?"
Right, I think you appreciate that stuff too. Yeah. Like, I'm thinking of like the moss and Brave on that stump over there. Like somebody created
Yeah.
that, and it's like
Absolutely.
no one cares. No one cares. You know what I mean? Like, but good for that person. You know, like you are the best
All of
moss.
Merida's hair was like,
Yeah, it's crazy. But let's keep going down the list. So we have the next movie, which is Toy Story 2, not Toy Story as well. What's interesting about Toy Story 2, Lasseter kind of had a little bit of a hands-off approach at the beginning, and they kind of gave the reins to other people, and then
There's 3 directors, David.
Right, and they submitted it to Disney, and Disney was like, "This is great," and then they were kind of like, "This isn't so great. Maybe we want to look at it again." Lasseter looked at it, and he's like, comes down, basically rewrites the movie. I think it's within a couple weeks span. He rewrites the entire movie, and they're like, no, like, it's good enough. Disney's like, it's fine. It'll make money. Like, what are you talking? He's like, no, it's not, it's not.
isn't that the Disney way?
It's it's funny because it's like Disney's this strange company because you feel like it's this evil overlord, and then they give people artistic freedom, and then they're like, we got to make money. You know what I mean? Like, it's got to be a tough, business because you're working with artists. It's about making it the way I intended. And they're like, yeah, we also got to keep the lights on, you jerk.
Yeah, basically.
But what do you guys think about Toy Story 2? I will tell you, I'll get to
Toy Story 2 is okay.
It's just okay?
It's a callback to a DeBeach Martin joke.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
No, it's me. Toy Story 2 is excellent. It's really good.
It's weird for
another 100% Rotten Tomatoes.
See, that surprises me.
That doesn't surprise me.
A lot of people say it's as good as the original.
It is not as good as the first Toy Story.
No.
It's very good. It's a very good movie.
I would say specifically, granted, in time and the how many years is it between the two? 4 years.
95 to 99, yeah.
It's just weird for them to go back to the well so quickly, but it made sense. You know what I mean?
Well, it made a crap ton of money.
No, yeah, of course.
By the way, the budget for Toy Story 2 was down to $90 million.
Right.
From the 120 from Bugs Life. And it made $485 million.
Jesus.
So, at this point, it's just and here's the thing. The expectations are so high on these guys, and they're still just knocking it out of the park. I will tell you, the scene in that movie that is just brutal is the scene with Jessie.
Of course
Oh
it
my
is.
God.
When she gets
Tears.
left, I couldn't. I remember.
Freaking, was that Sarah McLachlan?
Yeah.
Oh, you jerk with your freaking
Just
pound.
tears. Like, I
Oh
remember
my
being like,
gosh.
oh my God.
And then I thought about all the
Do you know
toys
why?
I love.
That's the thing. It's so relatable.
Oh,
That's
my
why these
God.
movies are so good. Because it's so relatable.
It was more depression. I was like, what did I do? I need to go back. There was this truck. I remember as a kid, it was this little army truck, and it had this little canvas top. I used to play with that thing, and I remember giving it away because it was too old. And that scene, I'm about to cry right now.
Oh.
I was so mad at myself because I was just like, you're such a dick. How dare you? That truck, all it ever wanted to do was just go around and ride, and you put it in the stupid Goodwill bin, you jerk. And that movie, like you said, it is so freaking relatable. Everybody had that experience.
Everybody did, yeah.
Everybody grows
Kids
up.
and adults.
Everybody grows up. And, that's the thing, that those movies more than anything make you, you go through life and you do, the things that are important to you at the time. And it doesn't matter if you don't sit and you don't think about things, right? You don't, as your
you
life's
live in
going,
the present and you
day
to
move on.
day.
Right. And this movie more than anything goes, remember that fraction of a moment when you weren't thinking about it? Here it is. And all you're gonna do is think
And I'm
about
just
it.
gonna squeeze your heart until you cry.
Oh my gosh. And they talk about that scene. There's obviously that ballad, Sarah McLachlan ballad, and it's long. It's not short. And they thought, this is for kids. Are we really they're not gonna hold the attention span of this. But I guarantee kids feel it too. You know what I mean? Like it's such everybody's gone through this. You know what I mean? Everybody has, and I think that's her face.
And that's the first Pixar movie that set the standard of at least once in this movie, we're going to make you freaking cry.
Yeah.
A Bug's Life, I didn't cry.
No.
Toy Story.
Toy Story didn't really cry.
But this is the first one where it's like, we found the right valve in your heart, and we're going to squeeze it.
Yeah, exactly.
At least once in every single one of our movies. Starting with Toy Story
funny
2.
thing about that whole scene is there was a stuffed toy that I had
Here we
as
go.
a child. Slept with it every day. I slept with that thing almost every single day up until I got married.
Aw.
Like,
And then what
because
happened?
of this movie, I was just like,
the
I
Eeyore?
can't. Yeah, I'm like, I can't get rid of this. He's missing his tail, but I can't get rid of him.
That's
Gotta
very
nail it back on?
Yeah, it's very Eeyore. I was gonna say, I just gotta get it nailed.
And so now he sits in my closet, and I think about him every now and then. I'm like, I wonder what he's doing.
But yeah, the general story, I love the Toy Story. Now here, the thing about Toy Story 2 is this is I'm trying to think. I think I got my job at Bose. This was like one of my very first jobs, right? We always talk about Bose. I worked there a long
we're talking
time.
about you working at Bose.
Toy Story 2, that scene, the highway scene with the rolling barrel, the little cones.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
that scene was
moving across.
yeah, fantastic surround sound, and it just looked great. No, seriously, it's a great surround sound scene. But I just remember watching Toy Story on like all the time there because it was just like it's one of those movies that it's just enjoyable. It's fun to watch. I love the beginning scene with Buzz Lightyear, where he's fighting all the people. The Zurg is
the video game.
It's the video game. Yeah.
So fantastic.
Playing,
yeah, it's just.
I think,
I'm your father. No.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah,
I love. This was also during the time when they used to do the like the behind the scenes like after the movie.
Yeah, Marvel, you did not start the credit scenes, all right? Pixar did this way before you.
Exactly.
And I love that one part when it's Woody and Buzz. They're going through like a bush or something, but you don't see that. All you see first is the bugs from A Bug's Life.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, just like Buzz Lightyear just like chops through, and they're like falling. It's hilarious. I love that.
Callbacks to the movies, yeah.
Okay, so then after these three movies, there's a little bit of a tiff between Pixar and Disney because essentially there was some negotiation about whether Toy Story 2 was actually part of the three-movie deal because it was a sequel, and it was originally, I think, meant to be a straight-to-video sequel, and it was...
There was a lot of disagreement between Pixar and Disney at this point, and Steve Jobs was like, Disney wanted to buy them.